Hello and welcome to the SC20 News Desk. I'm Michael Hakkarinen, and I'm excited to be joined today by Kristen Brown, Chair of the Student Networking Committee, and Mike Lam, who's also on the Student Networking Committee with SC20. Welcome to the News Desk. Can you tell us how things are going, where you are, and what you're working on right now, Kristen?
Yeah, thanks for having us today. So I am a data scientist at Intuitive Surgical, where we're working on AI research in medical robotics. So I'm actually located in Atlanta, Georgia, which is where SC20 was supposed to be originally, but now we're virtual. So.
And I'm Mike Lam. Thank you so much for having me as well. So I am halfway through the semester at James Madison University, where I'm an associate professor of computer science. I teach a variety of courses, including our upper level parallel and distributed systems course. And we are located in Harrisonburg, Virginia, which is a couple hours southwest of Washington, D.C.
Well, thank you both for joining us virtually. I have a few questions about the conference. I'll start with being about the students. I want to know, how are you working with students to assure that they make the most valuable connections at a conference that is 100% virtual?
Yeah, so every year in the past, when we've been in person, we've actually been growing a lot of the opportunities we have for students to engage with the conference and engage with other attendees. So this year we wanted to make sure that even though it's virtual, that we still provide a lot of those same opportunities. And in some ways, we've actually expanded by doing some early programs with webinars and an early mentor protege program, which Mike will talk about in a minute, I'm sure. And so we really want to make sure that students, when they come, they feel a part of the community, especially students who are new, who are just learning about HPC for the first time. We give them sessions where they can learn kind of the basics of HPC, but then also meet their fellow students, find mentors who often have internship opportunities or research opportunities that they can participate in. And so we have quite a few events going on. And so just briefly, right after the students' orientation, we've got a little socializing session for them to kind of meet other students before the conference starts. We have a speed mentoring event where students will get to meet with a few different mentors to potentially make those connections during the conference that often go on for many years afterwards. I still meet with some of the mentors that I met at previous SCs. We also have an alumni talk and panels where students can kind of learn how the conference has impacted other students, SC alumni participants, and ask them a few questions and connect with them. We have a resume workshop where students can get feedback from people who are working in the field that they want to be in. Lightning talks to get to know other students and what they're working on. A job fair where they can meet with exhibitors who might have job opportunities or internship opportunities. And there's also a scavenger hunt, which is meant to engage students with the exhibitors who, those are other people that they can meet. And so there's a lot going on at the conference, but we actually did start a program early, so a little bit before the conference starts, and I'll let Mike talk about that.
Yeah, so we took this opportunity to start the Mentor Protege program a little bit earlier this year. So we solicited folks to sign up for it over the summer, and we made the matches in early September. We had nearly 50 pairs of mentors and proteges who have been meeting a couple of times in the months leading up to supercomputing, and we've already heard from several of the participants that the interactions that they've had were very meaningful, and so it's fantastic that we were able to get people connected into what will hopefully be some long-term mentoring relationships. Like Kristen said, I have relationships as well that I've been keeping up over the years with students and mentors. The regular mentor protege matching will still happen, and so the signups are still open for that. But we will be doing that matching here in a couple of weeks, and the participants will be meeting virtually during the conference, and hopefully we'll be attending some of the sessions together.
Excellent. You have a whole collection of excellent resources and opportunities for students. So tell me a little bit about why are students so vital to the HPC community and the conference?
Yeah, so I mean, as an educator, students are my life. They are sort of the target of my career, and there's sort of the cliche, right, that the students are going to be the future, right? But it's true. It's literally true. The next big ideas and breakthroughs are going to come from students. The next great inventors are currently sitting in our student programs and in our classrooms right now. And so they're just of vital importance to our community. Students also challenge our assumptions and habits. I can't tell you how many times I've been, teaching or going over something, and I'm just, I've said something that, it's just always the way that I've done it. And a student has sort of said, well, why? And it took me, aback, and I had to think, well, here's the reason why, right? And it's becomes a very teachable moment. And then finally, students just bring this level of energy and optimism that is fantastic. So, my classes have been online this semester, but, every morning when I log in for classes or in the afternoon, there are these faces looking back at me. Not everybody turns their webcam on, but some of them do. And it's just been fantastic, looking at these people who, in spite of what all is going on, just have this relentless optimism and energy for the field. And this is to me, it's fantastic, and it's crucially important.
Well, Mike, that was excellent response, and it leads me to my third question, which I'll direct to you, Kristen. How are HP students going to be part of what's being done now to mitigate the impact of this global pandemic?
Yeah, so so there's a lot of research that's going on in the community right now. There's even there's an HPC consortium where they're accepting proposals for research ideas involving HPC, and so you can work with potentially your advisors to put together research proposals to submit to these. But a lot of people in research labs, which do consist of a lot of students, grad students, even undergrads, working on understanding how the disease functions through molecular simulation, genomics analysis, optimizing drug screens, simulating airflow with computational fluid dynamics to understand that sort of spread, as well as epidemiological studies. And so students are a huge part of this, and then meeting other mentors who are working on these activities, maybe you can, get into some of these research activities as well, just through making those connections, if that's something that interests you.
So thank you, Kristen. There's tremendous potential for our students today to find careers because of this pandemic in those industries. Mike, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, I'll also just add that, you don't have to be working on an HPC project directly related to COVID to make an impact. I think it's crucially important that everyone in the field of computing works to, help people understand the science that's coming out. It's coming out so quickly. We're having so many new studies published, and it's really important for members of the scientific communities to serve as ambassadors and to help people understand what's going on and what these studies mean, both for how we approach dealing with the pandemic and as we make policy related to it.
Excellent point. Thank you. So continuing with the discussion about students, what advice would you have for a student who is attending this conference for the first time in order to make the most of all of the different opportunities that you have available?
Yeah, so at least I remember when I first attended SC, it was a very overwhelming conference. There's so much going on, so much to do. If you don't know anyone, then it's hard to, connect with the program itself. And so we have all of these programs, but that doesn't mean that you have to participate in all of them. And we're just trying to provide as many opportunities as possible. So even if you participate in just one mentoring activity, that can really, impact, how you engage with the conference, but then also your career down the road. We've got so many students that participate in these mentorship programs that end up going into internships. It's how I got an internship, through the conference. And I think that, it's really great, like long lasting impact, just participating in one program.
And I would say, plan to follow up on some of these things. So there's so much cool stuff going on, and it's 1 week. Well, it's 2 weeks now with the virtual format, but it's 1 week of just having just a flood of information and activities and things, and take notes and plan to follow up on some of them. So take down some contact information and follow up with emails or an instant message or whatever. Because these are things that could be opportunities for your career in the future.
So you both mentioned the importance of following up with the connections that you make at the conference. What methods do you have in place for students to continue to be part of the community once the conference has ended?
So we do have social media groups, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. So in particular, LinkedIn is a great one because we have a group where student alumni who, they go into the field as professionals are a part of that. We also have the Mentor Protege LinkedIn group where some of the mentors, so you can directly go and find their LinkedIns. And so that's one great way, but even just directly emailing people so is a really great way to connect. And that's usually how I've approached it.
Yeah, maintaining those connections are so important and so fulfilling. We both said, there are people that we meet with, and almost everyone that I've talked to, has their group of folks that they reconnect with every year at supercomputing. And, those are fellow students, those are mentors, those are, students that I've advised. And so there's just this community, and then, you meet someone else, and then there's a whole nother community. And, these are, and for me, it's an encouragement every year, right? So you get kind of bogged down in your own little world, and then SC has this chance to experience the wider community, and it's fantastic.
Well, you have done fantastic work, both for the students attending the conference, but overall for the entire HPC community. Thank you so much for all that you've done and for sharing your advice today and for sharing your time with us virtually. I hope we get a chance to meet in person sometime in the future.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
And for everybody watching, stay tuned for more interviews from the SC20 News Desk. Thanks, everyone.